Show you how they tried to dictate, and they had a lot of things that they did in this football game to dictate to Peyton Manning, create confusion with the offensive line. Here, the San Diego Chargers have 4 down linemen, a 4-down look, we will say, with 3 standing up, one of them being a defensive back. But now, before Peyton gets into all these audibles, they shift. Now they have 3 down linemen and 3 linebackers, and the other nickel back is back in a slot position. From the end zone, now you will see what the Colts are going to try to do with the 3 down linemen. See those 3 linebackers? Those are all options. Who's going to come? Who's not going to come? Well, guess what? The 3 linebackers come. The defensive end drops out back into a zone area. Go back to the end, the look one more time at the snap. The Colts are going to slide their protection to the widest linebacker on that side. Perfect. What that does is create the matchup on the weak side. Defensive end on a tackle, linebacker Donnie Edwards on Edgerrin James. Donnie Edwards, one of those most athletic linebackers inside, does a great job of avoiding Edgerrin James, who's a very good blocker. Hits Peyton Manning, forces the fumble, and the Colts were able to recover it. But it's about dictating. The San Diego Chargers, I really felt in the matchup last year, were able to dictate to Peyton Manning. One thing about Peyton Manning, you can't give him too many times, though. He had too many opportunities on the field. Eventually, towards the end of the game, he started to figure certain things out and started to make some big plays.
You are Peyton Manning. Like, you went back to last year and studied. I am impressed.
You have to.
Man, thanks for laying that knowledge on us.
All right, Haji, let's flip to the other side of the ball. Let's look at San Diego's offense and Indianapolis defense. This Indianapolis defense is a little banged up. You probably won't see Cato June, probably won't see Corey Simon, probably won't see Robert Mathis as well, but you're going to see a whole lot of LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, LT's got some bruised ribs. Right. Bruised ribs or not, that's the way San Diego's going to win this game, yes?
Well, I think he must be a big part of what goes on. He must control the tempo of this game. I just mentioned how Peyton Manning had too many opportunities, because really in the last matchup, Indianapolis did a great job of kind of taking away the running game. They forced the Colts to make big plays and score quickly. The problem with that, when you score quick, it means you give the ball back quick. So I think LT in the running game critical, but also he's effective in the passing game. And then our boy Antonio Gates is going to be another part of this. But LT to me is so valuable in how he's able to be used. Last year they took him away in the running game. So they were able to use him in the passing game, Jaws, create a lot of big plays in that area. But I still think the running game is going to be important for him.
No question it'll be an LT game, but I think the explosive plays will come from Antonio Gates. This is where you'll be able to get some matchups against that Colts defense. You know, it is a coverage-based defense. They play defense with their back 7. They very seldom blitz. So that means Drew Brees is going to have to be very accurate with his throwing. There's going to be tight windows against that Colts defense.
And let's not forget about Edgerrin James in this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
He does lead the league in carries per game. And the way to keep that banged-up defense off the field is a lot of edge off the edge.
Oh,
stay with us. When we come back, the EASports.com poll question of the week. Which free agent has had the biggest impact in 2005? I got my pick.
That's easy.
Here are the showtimes for Week 16. Signature show, a special Christmas Eve edition on Saturday morning on the Worldwide Leader at 8:30.
That's right, Sal.
Time now for the EASports.com poll question of the week. And there's the page. Slide down to the left past the smiling Jaws. Who has been the most significant free agent acquisition this season? Joe Juravicius, Drew Bledsoe, Plexico Burress, Darren Sharper made the cut. How about that? Let's get the answer. It's going to slide over. Here it comes. Drew Bledsoe has to be the quarterback, doesn't it?
No question, Sal. The quarterback.
My thoughts are Plexico Burress.
What?
By landslide. And you know what?
Oh, a former Steeler.
You jump on Plexico Burress every single week. Now, this week you decided to go with Drew Bledsoe.
Obvious.
We're talking. It's obvious. It's not obvious. It's Plexico Burress.
Did you watch Drew Bledsoe last week?
You got
your opinion doesn't count.
I like
Did you watch Drew Bledsoe last week? He he put the Cowboys on his shoulders and carried them to victory.
Earlier in the show, you said they got robbed.
They did.
Sal, you got a question for me?
We have a big matchup in Chicago, Sunday Night Football. Lovie Smith has the Bears back on primetime, back on ESPN on Sunday night with our friend Susie Colbert, don't forget.
Absolutely.
And here comes the Atlanta Falcons.
Hi, Susie.
Warwick Dunn and Michael Vick. What is the matchup here with that offense?
Well, when you look at what the Steelers did to the Chicago Bear defense, you know, Atlanta has the ability to run right at them. But I think when you have a fast, full defense, you have to do things to get them out of position. And Atlanta has the ability to do that in the pass game. We're going to the coaching clicker, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that.
Work it,
It'll be a dart screen. This is something Atlanta ran last week against the New Orleans Saints. Saints are in man coverage. Here's the man coverage. Linebacker here on Warwick Dunn. A dart screen. This uncovered lineman right here is going to have to get him blocked. Warwick does a great job of setting up inside. Now you got to sell it to the outside. Great job there. Woo! Look at all the space here. Vic does a brilliant job of allowing the time to happen because he moves the defensive lineman, got him pressure. Dart screens, quick things in the passing game, I think the Atlanta Falcons will have to use to be effective in the passing game. I don't think they're going to have a lot of success down the field. It's going to be those type of plays.
Well, let me talk about the Atlanta defense.
Okay.
Because this is where this game will be won or lost. You know, this is going to be one of those double chin strap games because you know one thing. The Chicago Bears will come out in this game. They will run the ball with Thomas Jones. They will try to impose their will on the Atlanta defense, which has struggled as of late.
Well, can they run the ball on this team?
I believe they will, yeah.
I think they got, and you know what? Kyle Orton's starting to make a few more throws.
They opened it up a little bit last week. I'd like to see that.
A little more confidence.
So I think they're going to take the ball out of Kyle Orton's hand.
No, they don't.
No, come on, Sal. We're talking championship football.
You can't do that. Don't go backwards. Keep going forward, Sal.
Aggressive, Sal. It's a quarterback's game. You know that.
You're at home, Sal. Throw the ball. Could be snowing.
Well, this is a huge weekend of football. Enjoy the Week 15 games from Merrill Hodge, Ron Jaworski. I'm Sal Palantonio. We shall see you soon.
EA Sports NFL Matchup is brought to you by Madden NFL 2006. In stores now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to EA Sports NFL Matchup. Sal Palantonio. You know Merrill Hodge. This, of course, is Ron Jaworski. Final week of the 2005 season. Jaws' biggest surprise.
Oh, that one's easy. Larry Johnson, the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, when you think of the Chiefs, you think of Priest Holmes prior to this season. But look at the way Larry Johnson has run the football. Kind of reminds me of Jim Brown. Now, that's saying a lot.
All right, that is saying a lot.
Hodge, your biggest disappointment?
Well, Sal, I think when you think of the off-season acquisitions, all the potential, the Raiders. The Raiders' offense and how they have not performed, my biggest disappointment.
I thought you might say the Falcons.
I think
Really? I didn't.
I think it's got to be the Philadelphia Eagles. A total implosion in Philly is the biggest disappointment of the year. That's where we begin. The Washington Redskins are in a do-or-die situation. Win and get into the playoffs. They have won 4 straight. Joe Gibbs has this team believing. The Redskins' defense has given up just 13 touchdown passes. That is 3rd best in the league, Jaws. But let's start by looking at the Redskins' offense. Mark Brunell has been iffy all week with a sprained knee that he suffered last week against the Giants. That has got to limit his effectiveness, which is his mobility in this game. And the Eagles' defense is no picnic still.
You know, I don't think it makes any difference if it's Mark Brunell or Patrick Ramsey. I really don't, because the constant of the Washington Redskins is the running game.
That's true.
And Clinton Portis.
That is
Their
true.
offense is built around the power running game. However, the big plays and points do come out of the passing game. Santana Moss has given the Redskins the explosive player that they need. And as we saw last week, Patrick Ramsey can also get the ball down the field.
You're coming around, brother. You're right. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter about the quarterback position. I'm glad you finally said that. But the one constant for the Washington Redskins has been their defense. And you've talked many times about Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator.
Yes,
his ability to design pressures, their defense to create those pressures. I'm watching tape this week, though. In the last few weeks, there's been one guy that continually stands out for me. That's why I've got the coaches clicker out, so I could show you Philip Daniels, a defensive end. But this is what I have noticed watching tape the last few weeks.
Work it, Haji.
Did Philip Daniels, I said, remember, defensive end, he usually plays out here. But here he is at tackle. It's a third down situation. They're trying to move Philip Daniels around. You talk about a swim move down in the trenches. This is what you'd call perfect technique. The hand to swim and the quick pressure on Eli Manning. You can't throw the football. You have to throw it away. You can't throw it down the field. It continued in this game. If he didn't get pressure on him, he is able to move inside the pocket. Here we go with Daniels again. This side, a bull rush, getting up inside there, and the timing of his hands to knock the football down. Several times during the course of the game last week, Philip Daniels made plays for the Giants. If you can do that, we know the Redskins like to bring pressure, but if your defensive linemen are going to do that, and Philip Daniels continues to play like that, you don't have to blitz as much. And I think most of the times, teams would not like to blitz if they can get consistent pressure like that, because you can play coverage.
Although Greg Williams still loves the pressure.
Well, he does love to blitz,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's look at another NFC East team that's still very much alive, barely in the playoff picture, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Last week, Julius Jones just shocked the Carolina D, buck 94 on the ground. It looked like Bill Parcells took the game out of the hands of Drew Bledsoe last week. Do you expect that again this week?
Well, let me go back to the week before when Dallas played the Washington Redskins, and Drew Bledsoe got pummeled in that game.
Yeah.
He got hit every time he threw the football. So I think Bill Parcells went into the Carolina game saying, we're going to get back to our attitude running game. That's where Julius Jones came in. That's where the offensive line came off the ball and created space for him to run. But you still have to throw the football. There's no question you've got to find a way to get those explosive plays. And we all know, we've said it all season long, the weakness of the Dallas offensive line has been those two tackles, Rob Petitti and Torrin Tucker. So when Sean Payton put together the game plan in the passing game, he knew he had to think protection first. This 2nd and 7 play on the game-winning drive showed just how critical it is for the Cowboys to protect right tackle Rob Petitti. With the ball set to the short side of the field, offenses almost always align slot receivers to the wide side. This gives both receivers more field to run their routes. And it also creates bigger passing windows for the quarterback. On this key play, with 2 minutes remaining, offensive coordinator Sean Payton went against conventional wisdom. He aligned Terry Glenn and Keyshawn Johnson on the short side, closer to the sideline. Payton intentionally squeezed down Drew Bledsoe's passing windows because it was more important to help Petitti with Julius Peppers. Both tight ends aligned on Petitti's side, and the line call was for the protection to slide right. This zone blocking scheme gave Dallas 4 blockers versus 2 rushers. No one-on-one matchup for Petitti. With Petitti protected, the key was left tackle Torrin Tucker. He was matched man-to-man on Mike Rucker, a strong pass rusher. Tucker did an excellent job, and Bledsoe had time and room to deliver a strike to Johnson in a small window for a first down.
Another area of improvement for the Dallas Cowboys was their defensive line on the defensive side of the ball. Their defensive ends have been getting pushed around, not against the Carolina Panthers. Their defensive line dominated, and they didn't move Leroy Glover around like they had been doing. They lined up in their 3-4 majority of the time, and they won in the running game. And that's what's got to take place if you're going to make it to the playoffs and play consistent right now in the trenches.
All right, you two guys sit tight. A lot more coming from EA Sports NFL matchup.
That was a tremendous effort. You did what we said. You said, what do you do when you have to? What do you do when you have to? You step up and play like you did today.
الجمهور أذواق.
EA Sports NFL Matchup is brought to you by Madden NFL 2006, in stores now, and by IBM, helping companies innovate in an on-demand world.
December and Arrowhead, we own this place. Now let's go to work. Offense, go to work. Defense, go to work. Special teams, go to work. Coaches, go to work.
Welcome back to EA Sports NFL Matchup. I'm Sal Palantonio. Well, in the end, it may be impossible to truly measure the impact that Dick Vermeil has had in the National Football League, or on this set for that matter. And against the Cincinnati Bengals, Dick Vermeil may be coaching his last regular season game, maybe his last game for good. But in the person of Larry Johnson, Jaws, Dick Vermeil has left a lasting legacy in Kansas City.
Well, he's certainly that legacy is going to stay in Larry Johnson. But when you see Dick Vermeil on that sideline addressing his team team. God, doesn't that get you excited? That doesn't look like a guy that wants to leave the game of football. He still has a passion.
Well, will he or won't he?
I don't know that. I don't know that. And he's a great leader of men. And he will take his time to make his decision, unlike he did in St. Louis. But back to Larry Johnson. Hodge, you knew as a running back, you know what it's like to run downhill. That's what Larry Johnson does. And he's able to do that because the Chiefs' offensive line establishes the line of scrimmage. They cause a lot of clutter for those linebackers. The linebackers move laterally. Larry's going downhill. Positive yards, my friend.
Really quick, I hope Dick Vermeil does come back. I mean, because this league needs guys like him. But when you talk about Larry Johnson and the Cincinnati Bengals defense, I think this is a great test going into the playoffs. Because one thing studying the Bengals on tape, defensively, they're against the run, played much better. The problems that I see with this team defensively, not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. And Trent Green, I think, has a big day, a very underrated quarterback. He plays so well and doesn't get enough credit for it.
Well, you know,
but I think the key is him.
Yeah, you know, the one problem that we've had in Kansas City with that defense, and I say we because I still root for those Chiefs. I did play for them for 1 year.
You root for them, all right.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, the one thing you worry about is on the outside. They love to play that quarters coverage and get those safeties down involved in the running game. That leaves those corners one-on-one. Now, I don't know how much Carson Palmer will play, but you got to believe Chad Johnson will be out there quite a bit.
All right, let's shift the matchup to Foxborough. Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. 3 seed, 4 seed, doesn't matter to Bill Belichick. This is another opportunity for him to get that marauding 3-4 defense, which has been unbelievable lately, ready for the postseason.
Incredible discipline in that defense. You know, a lot of the 3-4 teams, and I'll say an example, the San Diego Chargers, ball is snapped, man, they love to attack up the field.
Yeah.
Then if you plug in the Patriots, it's the ball is snapped, it's those 3 down linemen playing that 2-gap reading. In fact, you know, I think they hate to play it because they never hear their name announced over the public address system. The linebackers are making all the plays, and those 3 down linemen are doing all the work.
Well, you've been reading my mind because we're going to go talk about those 3 down linemen. But it's very interesting as we get closer to the playoffs. We start talking about guys down on the trenches, the factor backs. We don't talk that much about the quarterbacks, although they're going to play a pivotal role because they're going to have to take sacks and throw the ball away.
Wow, really?
Well, against the New England Patriots, I'm glad you mentioned the 3 defensive linemen because I want to show you what makes their run defense so outstanding. It is those 3 hogs up front, Warren, Wilfork, and Seymour. But watch this right off the bat. The Bucs have 2 tight ends, 1 back. Patriots say, we're going to stay in our 2 safety look, and we're going to let our 7 in the box handle this. And the reason they can is because of these 3 hosses right here. Look at the wall that is created. Nowhere for Cadillac to go with that football, but it's from the end zone that you really see the discipline, the stuff Jaws was talking about. Watch Seymour first. That's what we're going to focus on. Wilfork is the nose, Warren is the left defensive end. But watch Seymour. Look at his hands and look at the control. When the back sees that he flashes right there, he now has to go back over to Wilfork's side. Well, Wilfork has done a great job of establishing his position. One more time, as we see Cadillac get the football, as he keeps trying to go to the backside. Warren now, watch him as he grabs his hand. He's in now position. He's reading. He's controlled the offensive lineman. Nowhere to go with the running back. These 3 down linemen, they don't get their name called a lot, but we tried to talk as many times as we could about them right here. They are the key to this Patriot defense and why they have improved.
And the other guy that doesn't get a whole lot of notice is Will McGinnis, the outside linebacker. You know, in a series, a team could be driving down the field. All of a sudden, they go from that 3-4 to the 4-3 because of Willie McGinnis. He gives them that flexibility on the defensive side of the ball. But let me talk about the offense for the Patriots and Sal's league MVP, Tom Brady. Now, he did not have a great game on Monday night, but what I saw was the offensive line of the Patriots gained confidence because they came off with that road great attitude and kept that offense on schedule.
But, you know, you lose Teddy Bruschi, you lose Rodney Harrison, you lose Matt Light, you take away Tom Brady, and the Patriots are going nowhere this year.
Whatever, Sal. Listen, we're talking about this team going to the playoffs, and Brady is playing great, and you can't ignore that. But when you look at this defense, too, with them stopping the run like they are, their secondary is playing better because they're now getting pressure on the quarterback, and the quarterback's usually in 2nd and 3rd long situations. This defense, you talk about timing and rhythm, they've got it going right now. Their flaws no longer are flaws.
Pass defense is about coverage and pressure. Right now, the Patriots have it going.
And nobody wants to play that defense right now.
But guess what? Somebody has to.
Coming up next, not 1, but 2 matchups in the NFC South.
Believe on me. 1, 2, 3. My lifetime. That was the greatest gut check I've ever been associated with.
Okay, all you Springsteen Machine Heads. John Gruden paid the Bard of Asbury Park the ultimate compliment this year, treating the Bucs to a music video of this man, Carnell Williams, with the boss's Cadillac Ranch playing in the background. And Cadillac has repaid the Gruden dog with big dividends. Obviously, the rookie running back, Jaws, is the foundation of the Bucs' offense. And this is where we send you inside the film room, powered by IBM.
Yeah, I like when John gets all excited, talks about that gut check for that team. I want to give Haji a gut check. You know, he's been in a factor back show here, and we're going to add Cadillac Williams to the factor back running back show. And when you look at this Tampa Bay offense, and especially when you look at the way John Gruden loves to design offense, it likes to be, you know, a genius. But then you look at this offense, and it has become somewhat pedestrian and almost primitive. Let's start with a play from last week. The personnel is 1 back, Cadillac Williams, and 3 tight ends. This was straight power football. It is now the Bucs' philosophical foundation. And one critical element has been the double teams at the point of attack. Here it was guard Sean Mahan and tackle Kenyatta Walker. The other guard, Dan Benning, pulled and led Williams to the hole. Cadillac did an excellent job hugging the double team and exploded through the crack for an efficient 9 yards. What the Bucs have primarily evolved into over the last half of the season is a 2-back, 2 tight end offense. This is their base personnel in normal down and distance situations. On this play against Carolina, here's what you had. 2 double teams. The block by tackle Anthony Davis on the defensive end, and the lead block by Mike Allstott. But on the backside, linebacker Will Witherspoon shot the gap. This is where the special ability of Williams showed through. He made Witherspoon miss and darted through the line and into the end zone. The key is Williams. He is the reason the Bucs can line up week after week and play power football.
All right, guys, let's set the matchup. The Bucs host the Saints, and John Gruden's probably thinking to himself, what do we got to do to beat the New Orleans Saints here in Tampa? Because the Saints have won the last 3. Everybody's going to say this is not much of a matchup, but this is a big matchup for the Bucs. And this is a game where Monty Kiffin's defense has to come to the party.
Well, you know, those 2 guys walking in that screen right there, Barber and Kelly, the 2 corners, are outstanding cover guys. And every time we talk about the Bucs here, cover 2, bull. They don't play cover 2 unless it is 3rd and long or 2nd and 1st and long. They play a single safety, and they leave those corners on an island. They're outstanding there, and they're an outstanding pressure team, and they put an 8 guy in the box. They will say, Todd Bauman, see if you can beat us in this one. And my guess is Todd Bauman is not going to be able to beat this Buck defense.
Well, let's shift the matchup to another one in the NFC South, Panthers and Falcons. Right now, if you're John Fox, you don't want to have to go to the Georgia Dome and play the Atlanta Falcons. They're a wounded team. Jim Moore's mad at the world. Michael Vick is mad at the world. I mean,
they should be.
What do you guys see in this game?
Here's what I see. I see sick Vick. When I see sick Vick, I get nervous.
What else?
I get nervous as a defensive coordinator. They've already played 1 time. Carolina did a great job of defending Michael Vick. Yep. And they did some things in packages that allowed that to happen. The one thing that you have to have is your defensive line has to do a good job in rushing him. You can't get beyond him. You can't give him alleys to attack down the field. You got to push him deep. Let me show you where they did that. They did that well at times, and they didn't do it well in other times. We're going to start with the play where they didn't do a very good job of it. First, watch the linebacker and defensive end. Both of them will move back into coverage and spy Vick for a reason. Now, like I told you about the defensive line, they must do a good job of the pass rushers not getting beyond Vick. Look at the spies at Mike Vick. Now, the pressure on the outside. You can't get beyond Vick, because once you get beyond Michael Vick, you give him an alley to attack the line of scrimmage. Now, the one thing I want to show you here, watch this amazing speed. Look at the distance Vick has to cover. That point where the linebacker will meet him is the 1st down. Look how fast Vick gets there. A little move, and we call that a 1st down in the NFL,
wow,
Jaws.
Really?
Now, Thomas Davis was a guy that was implemented a lot in the game plan to spy on Vick. First, the defensive line. Great job of not allowing Vick to be able to go attack the line of scrimmage. What they did is they forced Vick deep on this one. He had to give ground. Once he gives ground, then Davis's speed is able to match Vick's speed. Vick gets to the outside. Watch Davis. Woo-hoo! Yeah! and takes a shot on Vic. He's not able to square his shoulders and doesn't complete the pass. That is what has to take place a majority of the time. If you allow him to run at the line of scrimmage with an alley, I mean, you know, magic happens when that happens. You have to push him deep. If you do that majority of the time, then you got a chance to contain him. But you have to have a running back mentality when you defend Mr. Vic.
Well, let me switch this around to the Carolina offense. And this has been the schizo offense all year long. You just don't know what group is going to show up week to week. But against this Atlanta defense, they must have the commitment to the run. Yep. Because if you look back to last week, Tampa Bay stayed with the run, and I believe they wore down that Atlanta defense. But also, the big plays must come from Steve Smith. Run, 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 down the field to Mr. Smith. That's where the points come.
Just get it into his hands, quick.
Just get it out of Jake's hands into Steve's hands.
All right, coming up next, the EASports.com poll question of the week and a look at the suddenly resurgent Pittsburgh Steelers running game.
Cuts it back to the right, 30, 35, 40. He's on a foot race, 50. There goes Willie Parker. He's coming to the near sideline. Touchdown, Pittsburgh! An 80-yard run by Willie Parker.
Here are the showtimes for Wild Card Weekend. Look at that lineup. 2 separate shows for Saturday's games and Sunday's games. You know what you get on this show, what the refs call indisputable visual evidence of what's really going on in the National Football League. Right, Jaws?
That's right, Sal.
Time now for the EASports.com poll question of the week. Who is the MVP of 2005? To find the question, you slide down past the smiling jaws to the left side of the page. There's the question. There are the answers. Carson Palmer, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Sean Alexander. The question slides in. Let's get it. Here it is.
Man, it's a no-brainer.
Sean Alexander, Haji, your thoughts?
America is dead on because it's about consistency, and Sean Alexander has been the most consistent football player in the league. No matter what they've asked him to do, he has done that. Last year to this year, week in, week out, his vision, he's a complete back as well. I'd like to see you argue that one.
Props to my 3 quarterbacks that were in the running. They were in the running, but Sean Alexander.
There you go.
I think it's not the offensive player of the year, it's the MVP. You take away Sean Alexander, the Seahawks probably still get in the playoffs. You take away
I don't think so.
You take away Tom Brady, the Patriots get squashed.
Hey,
It's gotta be Brady.
Sal,
come on, Sal.
You keep moderating and get to the next part because that's
Our next matchup, Pittsburgh Steelers against the lowly Detroit Lions. Last 3 games, the Steelers have outscored their opponents 80-12. Haji, you give up 12 points in 3 games. The defense is ready for the postseason, I think.
They are. Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator, can flat coach. And the first thing he'll tell you, well, I can coach because I got a lot of good players. And that he does.
Well, you are
and they have
they
got a lot of moving parts is what I love about studying this defense. There's a lot of people moving around. Let me show you what I'm talking about as far as what quarterbacks have to look at. Remember I said there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of players going all over the place? Well, this is what the Steelers will do as they line up 2 deep safeties. They got man-to-man over the wide receivers. And there's our boy Troy Polamalu. We'll get to him in a little bit. But now the moving parts. As the corner at the bottom of your screen is going to blitz, the safety comes down to take over that. Now, the wide receiver points it out. We got a hot rat here. Brad, you got to get rid of the football. Now, remember, fans, 3rd and 7. They dictated this throw because they were going to make the tackle. They're in position. They gained 2 yards, but guess what? Next play, they're going to punt from the end zone. Watch James Ferrier and Joey Porter. They're in your screen right now, but look where they end up. And focus on Troy Polamalu, who will end up blitzing. Porter blitzes, it goes out to the flat. James Ferrier, we leave, and Troy Polamalu comes in clean. But I'm going to let you isolate on Troy Polamalu. Look at the creativity. Look at the dance step. Look at the hair. It's beautiful. And he comes clean.
I'm a little worried about you,
Brad's got to get rid of the football. This defense is the best defense in football right now. It puts pressure on your quarterback. It puts pressure on your offensive line. They are playing in perfect harmony right now, in perfect time for the playoffs.
Excellent defense, excellent running game, but come on, let's get real here. Now the heartbeat of the Steelers is coming back. Big Ben Roethlisberger, last 3 games, now he's healthy. The knee is healthy, thumb is healthy. He is stroking it. Last 3 games, 9.96 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 65% complete. Big Ben is back, my friend.
Both sides of the ball, they are peaking right now exactly at the right time of the season.
And let me tell you this, Sal, Big Ben is, hot right now. Hot.
Thanks for watching EA Sports NFL Matchup. I'm Sal Palantonio. This is Merrill Hodge, Ron Jaworski. Everybody have a happy and safe new year. We will see you soon.
EA Sports NFL Matchup is brought to you by Madden NFL 2006, in stores now, and by GMC Trucks and SUVs. We are professional grade.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com.